Hi, I'm Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I have a fair harvest of tomatoes that I really need to get taken care of. These were picked a couple of days ago, and some of them already had some bad spots in. So the first thing I need to do is get them washed up, and then we will core and cut out any bad spots. So I just have a sink half full of cold water. And we're making tomato sauce with these today. Especially when I have to cut a bunch of bad spots out of them. Tomato sauce just makes sense. Okay. So this one had a split in it, and unfortunately it's very soft around it. I didn't think Amish paste tomatoes were supposed to split that much, but I had a lot of them split bad, so we're going to get that taken care of. You want to make sure you get all of the bad spots out, because any little spot of bad stuff can ruin your whole batch. So for coring, I use this strawberry huller. It works really well. Well, this one's really tough because of all the cracks. But I just kind of go in a circular round motion and then pull it out, and my hull is out. Now this one, I have a lot of cracks here that I'm going to cut out as well. Even though they're dry and hard, that just would not be appealing in my sauce. I always do the sniff test, and my saying is, when in doubt, throw it out. Don't take chances. Okay, so I'm just leaving the skins on after I core them and cut all the bad spots out. And then I quarter them or half them, depending on the size of the tomato, so that they'll cook down better and faster. So again, I'm removing any little blemish out of the tomatoes. Okay, so the tomatoes I'm using today is a combination of Jet Star. The round ones are the Jet Stars that we grow for fresh eating. We just love them. But once they really start producing, of course, we can't eat that many tomatoes, so they get thrown into the sauce as well. The only thing is they are a juicier tomato, and so it does take longer to cook them down. The other tomatoes are Amish paste, these oblong ones. And for some reason I had a lot of problem with splitting and rotting. Now they grew in about 3-gallon buckets, so I don't know if that's part of the problem, the root bound and rotting, kind of, so to speak. I ran out of soil and couldn't get more, so they didn't get planted in the big buckets that I have in my garden. If you've seen my garden videos, you've seen my big mineral buckets that I like to grow a lot in. We do have an in-ground garden, so if you haven't seen those videos, go back and watch our gardening list. And I also have other tomato videos. I have a barbecue video that's an older video that I did early spring. using last year's canned tomatoes. So I have the barbecue one, I did a diced tomato one, combination whole tomatoes, diced tomato one, and now we're doing the tomato sauce. So obviously I have to wait for the tomatoes to grow and produce before I can do more videos. So this is the tomato sauce video, and I'm gonna just keep on cleaning tomatoes here. Okay, so this is a 32 cup bowl, and I probably ended up with about 25 cups of tomatoes once I got all cut up and all the bad spots out. I'm going to put them in the roaster. Usually I have a lot more because I plant a lot more, but I had a booming crop last year, so I've already put up a lot of tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, and tomato products. But we're going to go ahead and cook these down and can them up, even though it will only be a few jars. So I've put them in my roaster, just quartered. You know, some of them were big, so I cut them into maybe 6 slices instead. And I have my roaster on 250. We're going to slow cook this overnight. And some of the skins will rise to the top and I just pick them off and throw them. But I'm going to show you how I deal with the skins once the sauce is cooked. So let's get the lid on here, and it's currently 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to cook this at least overnight. And I will come back and I will stir it every couple hours or so. Okay, so the tomatoes have been cooking down only for about half an hour. I just wanted to kind of show you how the juice is starting to cook out of them. They got a long way to go, of course, but every once in a while, like I mentioned, you want to stir them. And when they first start, you want to give them a good stir after about probably only half an hour to make sure they're not sticking and that the juice is coming out. And if you don't have any juice coming out, get a potato masher and just kind of mash them down a little bit to force some of the juice out, to make sure that they don't burn. Okay, so I went out to the garden and got just a few more. Thought I might as well just add them to the pot. Give that a good stir. Kind of work those in so they'll start cooking down too quicker. There we go. If I were using just Amish tomatoes, the sauce would be much thicker, much quicker. But because probably half of them or more were the Jet Stars, they're a very juicy tomato, so it's going to take a little bit longer for them to cook down. So if you had just Amish paste tomatoes and you started cooking them down early in the morning, it might be thick enough to can in the evening. I usually just cook mine overnight and sometimes even all the next day. So I'll have to wait and see how it is in the morning. But you'll see I'm not going to slip all these skins. We're going to keep them on there, and how am I going to make my tomato sauce nice and smooth? I know a lot of people take a sieve and push it through and get all the seeds out and all of the skins out, but I'm not going to do that. I do mine in a very easy but still safe method. So, okay, so it is the next day, and my tomatoes have reduced by about half. Let me see if I can show you. I'm not sure if you can see where the line is here. Kind of like right here. So I've unplugged it and cooled it. So my next step, and this is how I'm going to deal with the skins, I'm leaving them in. I leave the skins and the seeds in. And I'm going to use my immersion blender. Oh, I forgot. It splatters all over when it's low, so I'm going to put it in a bowl. I'll be right back. If you have a lot in the pan, it's pretty deep, it works fine. But since I didn't have a lot of tomatoes, it's better to pour it into another container where it's nice and deep. So I'm going to use an immersion blender. The one I have is by KitchenAid, and I just love it for this. Great for making smoothies and stuff too. Okay. Still just a little, oops. Careful not to slap it. Tomatoes do stain real bad. Just kind of stir to see if it's mostly taken care of. Okay, so this is the remainder of it. So at this point, you could make tomato soup out of this, but today I'm just going to keep it as tomato sauce. Just a little bit more. And the top half just comes right off. Can go in the sink to be washed. Okay. Let me get set up. Now, a lot of people heat this since it was already cooled. I had to run to town real quick and came back. So I'm just going to cold pack it and have the water in the canner also cool. Just room temp. Okay, so I'm just going to basically, and the thing I love about these, one I got from Pampered Chef, one is Anchor Hocking, I think you can buy them at Walmart, is they're so great because of the pour spout. So not only could you do your immersion blending in it, but it makes it quick and easy to fill your jars. And I'm going to go up just to the bottom of the rim, or where your ring goes, the bottom lip here. Tomatoes are notorious for siphoning, so I'm not going to go past here. I think by directions you can go up to 1/2 inch headspace, but I'm not going to do that. And if you want thicker tomato sauce, you just cook it longer. The longer you cook it down, the thicker it's going to get. Just keep an eye on it so it's not sticking. Uh-oh, I slopped all over this one. Oh my, it made a mess. Oh, not quite on that one. Which one was that? This one. Okay. Okay, some of these I got just a little bit full. So I'm going to take some out and see if I can come up with enough to fill this up. Otherwise, I guess we'll put it in the fridge and use it. Oops. Oh, we're gonna make it. Let's see. Okay, those look pretty good. I think I'll call it there. Oh, forgot something. Because it is tomatoes and they're a low acid food, you need to add either lemon juice or citric acid to the jars. And the lemon juice you would use is not from fresh lemons, but from the jars of like the real lemon juice, because it has a definitive amount that you need, whereas it varies from lemon to lemon. Okay. So if you are using the real lemon juice, you would use 1 tablespoon per pint or 2 tablespoons per quarts. And the citric acid, if you choose to use it instead, I'm going to use this today, 1/4 teaspoon for pints and 1/2 teaspoon for quarts. And again, this is to control the right acidity for safe canning. It'll get mixed up in there when it starts boiling. Okay, let's get these into the canner. Now I'm using my pressure canner today, but I'm going to use it as a water bath canner. Only because I had it out for another job. So I just didn't want to tow out another canner. And remember when you're loading your jars to make sure they're not touching the sides nor each other. So I have the jars loaded in. I need to fill it up with water to have at least an inch over the top. Okay, I'm just going to set the lid on. Oops, let's see. Maybe. Oh, there we go. And turn the burner on about medium high. Just because I know my burner burns hot. So once the water comes to a full rolling boil, I'll bring it back. Okay, I did check my ball canning book, and 1/2 inch is the correct headspace for tomato sauce. I just like to allow a little bit more. And we're going to process these once it comes to a full rolling boil for 35 minutes for pints, 40 minutes for quarts. So that's much more like the times were when I was growing up. Again, 35 minutes for pints, 40 minutes if you're canning quarts. Okay, we are at a full rolling boil now. So I turned down my burner to just below medium. You may need to leave yours on high. It depends on how yours cans and if it keeps it that hot. Mine will keep it at a full rolling boil. So now I need to set my timer for 35 minutes for pints. Again, 40 minutes if you're doing quarts. And start. Okay. And I'll bring you back when we're finished. Okay, so the timer just went off. I am going to turn the burner off and let it cool down before I take the lid off. So I want to cool it for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Then I can take the lid off and cool it for another 5 minutes before taking the jars out. Well, it is the next day, and I have all of the jars cleaned up, marked, and ready for the pantry shelf. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way you can help our channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. God bless and take care.